I apologize if you can hear cars rushing past and the fan on. It is way too hot to close all the windows and doors and not have any form of air, so I'm really sorry. Like I've explained before, I live on a main road, so that's why you may hear some cars. And yeah, it's too hot. I'm really sorry, but I live in Australia. It's summer and I'm melting. I'm melting. Hey, how's it going? So welcome to today's video. Right after I apologized about the car noise. Today I am going to teach you all about how I saved money and how you can save money too. And no, the title is not misleading. I really did save that much by 23. I am 24 now. When I'm filming this, I turned 24 the start of December. So by January 2019, I did have $23,000 saved, and I'm going to talk to you about how I did it and some tips and tricks and things that you can do to help you reach your saving goals as well. Just a disclaimer, I am not trying to brag at all. That's not the case. I have worked very hard for my money and I've made a lot of sacrifices on the way to get to where I am. So please don't come for me. You know, don't make assumptions about my life and how I got there. I totally understand that everybody's life and journey is different. Some people just unfortunately aren't as lucky as I was in terms of being able to you know, live at home for as long as I did, which I'll get into, you know, and just being blessed with certain things that I was. Please don't compare. It's not a competition. My point of this video is really just trying to help and to motivate people, and I don't know, I feel like some of these tips can really help change and shape your life and the way you look at money. Such a controversial topic, but let's just get into it. So I'm going to talk about 4 kind of different categories. I'm going to talk about how I did it, how you can do it, just some tips and advice, and then some things to remember. Also, if you see me looking down a lot, or if there's a lot of jump cuts, please excuse. I'm going off some notes that I've just written down to stop me from rambling and to keep me on track. So how I did it, how I saved $23,000 by age 23. I just wanted to give you a little bit of background on my work history, the choices I've made, my money mentality, things of that nature. So I've always been a good saver, even from a child. I would get pocket money here and there, and then some of my relatives would give me money for my birthday or for Christmas, and I'd save that, as well as you know, if I got change from bus money, even if it was like say 20 cents, and as long as my mum didn't mind, I kept it. I did, and all of that went into savings, and I just really liked saving money. I really liked having money in my piggy bank, and I was always counting it to see how much I was up to, and I was always cautious on how I spent that money. I was always calculating how much things cost, whether it was like a pack of chips at the shop, or you know, some lollies or something like that. Or we used to always have this thing called book club at my school. I think it was book club, I don't know, something like that. It was like a book catalog that would come, I think, like once a month or once every few months, and it was a huge catalog, and you could pick things if you wanted to buy them from that thing, and anything that I wanted I had to spend my own money on. So I was very careful in carefully selecting what I wanted. I definitely had a good childhood, but I wasn't spoiled. My parents would never just buy me things if I asked for it. Like, I had to work for things, but they would also reward me for my hard work. So like I mentioned, I started getting chore money and birthday money and stuff. That was kind of my first introduction to money. I would even beg my neighbors if I could wash their car for like $1 or something. I really enjoyed making money. We'd do lemonade stands, or like I'd always want to do garage sales to sell my, you know, old toys and things. Yeah, I loved doing stuff like that Then as I got older, I went into babysitting. Yeah, so I'd get a little bit of money from there. I'd work there like every Tuesday night for a few hours. So babysitting was one of the ways I made money, and then I got my first real kind of job at 14, I think I was, and that was just working in a just a local retail clothing boutique. My longest time without a job was probably for maybe 3 months, and that was because I had to quit my retail job that I had since I was 14. I worked there for about 3 years, and 3 or 4 years, and I left to go on a family holiday. That was going to be for an entire month, and then when we came back they gave me a few shifts, but eventually they kind of let me go. They couldn't offer me shifts because I had to replace my position and all of that, and it was fine, but I was without a job for about 3 months before I got another one, and that's probably the longest I've ever been without a solid income. And I was on what we have in Australia called Centrelink, but I had to apply for a minimum amount of jobs each week. It was something like 20 jobs a week or something that I had to apply for in order to receive my benefit, and it wasn't very much anyway. It was maybe about 200 bucks or something a week, but I was still living at home at this time, so that was fine. But I've always had some form of income coming in, some of my own money. And then as a teen, online shopping was still quite new. It was kind of only just really taking off, and it wasn't as huge and as popular as it is now today. So I didn't really understand that world, and I didn't have access to that world. I didn't have the right kind of bank card in order to buy things online. So I think that really helped. If I wanted to buy something, I had to go to the shops and get it myself. I couldn't just have all this afterpay and for online stores and just buying things. Also, while I was a teen, I didn't enjoy seeing my friends having no money. A lot of people I were friends with, they had a job, but they would spend everything that they earned. They had no savings whatsoever. I remember this time in particular, I was out with a friend, we were at the beach or something, and she wanted money to buy lunch, so she was gonna withdraw some cash from her card or something, or just check her balance. And when she did, I think her balance was like -5 cents, and I remember she was laughing about it and was like, oh my god, I'm you know, in the negatives. But I was just mortified. I was like, how do you have absolutely nothing? Like, I don't know, it's just crazy to me. I also lived at home right up until the start of 2019. It was kind of like, I think, April that I moved out of home. So that definitely helped with me saving money, because I obviously wasn't paying rent. And also something that definitely helped was that my first car was actually a gift to me. It wasn't anything fancy. It was a 2003 Holden Astra, and it originally belonged to my aunt, and my family gifted it to me under the condition that I was to pay for everything that needed to be done. So this was in 2012 when I got the car, by the way. So it wasn't 2003, it wasn't a new car, it was an old car. But the timing belt needed to be changed, or the timing belt done, or I don't know, timing belt change? Yeah, I think that's the thing. I'm not very good with cars. But that was a major service. I think it was like $1,000 or something. Plus I had to organize the rego, the roadworthy, my insurance. I think I had to get new tires, all of that stuff. I had to pay for that myself. So I was very grateful that I got given the car, because not only all the stuff that I did pay for, but then also the car itself would have been a huge amount of money. I always, though, was saving during high school in the back of my mind with the thought that I was going to buy my own car. I never ever expected my family to give me a car. It was probably going to be something very, very low in cost, like maybe a $2,000 or $3,000 car, secondhand. It wasn't the prettiest car, it wasn't my dream car, but yeah, I was so grateful that they did that for me. Something else I established that I think was a huge help with my finances as well was I have different accounts for different things. So I have my everyday account, which my savings go into, and that's kind of like what my bank card is. I can spend that day to day, whatever I want to. And then I've got 2 separate savings accounts. One is still a really good interest, but a little bit of a lower interest. And then the other one is a really good interest. And the reason that the interest is so good is I can't really touch that. I can only withdraw from it. I think it's once a month. If I want to do it more than once a month, I have to pay a fee. I can't remember off the top of my head what those interest rates are. I'm sorry. I think the lower one is like 2 point something or 1 point something. It's like around, I think it's around 2%. And then the higher earning one, I think is about 5%. So what I do is I put majority of my savings into the higher interest one, and then a smaller amount of savings, probably the rough amount that I would use on, say, like a holiday or paying for, you know, if I had something go wrong with my car and I needed to have a little bit of money on hand, that kind of thing. Like that was kind of like my almost emergency savings, or like I could kind of take what I wanted from that amount, and then I had my huge amount that was in the higher earning interest account. And then my 4th account is an online shopping one. So I have $1 in there at all times, and when I want to buy something online, I transfer that exact value over, and then I buy what I want to buy and I go back to $1. Above all of this, I really think my money mentality right from the beginning when I was a young age really helped shape all my beliefs around money leading up to today, especially my parents. My mum, she didn't struggle, but when my parents separated, she became a single mum, having to support us 2 kids most of the time. She had her own business for a little while there, and so she not struggled to make ends meet, but she definitely had to be smart about her money. And I almost felt guilty asking her for money, knowing what she was going through. I definitely felt guilty taking money from her as a teenager. So I would try to make whatever little bit she gave me that I could use for, like, say, the movies or lunch that day or something like that, or even bus money. Like I'd make that money last as much as I could. I wouldn't just be going, great, I've got 20 bucks for the day, let's get this, and this, and this. If I was left over with money, it was like, great, and I could either give that back to my mom, or if she said I could keep it, it would go in my piggy bank. I think that's everything to do with my history and how I saved that money. Obviously, like, I put away money and then I have bills and things like that, but I'm gonna talk more about that in explaining how you can save money. I just wanted to give a little bit of a background on my kind of job history and the things I've done in my life surrounding money. So how can you save money? I think, like I just mentioned, money mentality is the most important thing. If you don't have a good money mentality, you will really inhibit yourself from reaching your full potential of how much you can save. And you can do it. It can be done. Money means nothing other than the value we put into it. It's just a piece of paper at the end of the day, or it's just some silver or gold coins. It's really what it means to you. So, you know, $20 to you might not seem like anything, but $20 to someone else could mean a lot, and it really depends on what you decide to do with that money. This is kind of random, but something really interesting that I read, it was just like a quote or something, and it was like, so say you had $300, I think it was. If you had $300, would you rather be the person who has a $280 handbag with $20 in their wallet, or would you rather be the person with the $20 handbag and $280 in your wallet? So it's kind of all about prioritizing and what you value, which I will get into a little bit more. We all have these money beliefs, and some of these beliefs are holding us hostage. I want to read you this page of this book because it was very inspiring and influential. So just hang on a sec. So this is the book You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero, I think that's how you say it, Sincero, I'm not sure. This is a great book. I've read this a few times already. Each time I read it, I feel like I get something new out of it. So I just wanted to read you this page because she does focus a little bit on money as well as a bunch of other things. And I think she has another book that is purely based on money related things. I think it's just called You Are a Badass at Making Money, but by the same author and everything. I haven't read it yet, but I do really want to because this book was really good. Yeah. So this is kind of what I was saying before. Money on its own means nothing. A $100 bill sitting on a table is a piece of paper. It's the energy around it that makes it relevant. That $100 bill could have been slipped into a birthday card from your granny, or you could have stolen it from your best friend when she wasn't looking, or you could have earned it by doing something you loved or by doing something you hated. In each situation, the energy around the money is different. Nothing has any value other than the value we put on it. Similarly, I cannot say that, fuck. Wow, I cannot speak English. Oh, the value we put on things and services has energy. Someone could tell it, I'm about to give up, honestly. Someone could sell a t-shirt in a store for $10. Another person could sell the exact same t-shirt in some fancy store for $1,000. How much is a gold watch worth? How much is a broken watch worth that was owned by Michael Jackson? It's all make-believe, or rather, it's all what we make ourselves believe. If we believe we are worth $10 an hour, that's the frequency we'll put out, and that's the kind of client or job we'll attract. If we believe we're worth $1,000 an hour, that's the frequency we'll put out, and that's the kind of client or employment opportunities we'll attract. The key word is believe. You can't be shitting bricks and charging more than you believe you're worth and expect to receive it. And you can't charge less than you believe you're worth and expect to flourish because you'll be pissed off. Yeah, it's really interesting. Really interesting book. So I highly recommend reading it if you want to learn more about so many things in life, including money. But initiating some actions to give you some ideas. You need to set yourself a goal and prioritize what's important to you. Have a why. Why are you saving? What are you saving for? That was probably the most common question I got asked whenever someone found out that I was saving money. They were like, why do you have so much money? What are you saving for? So many people don't understand why you just hold on to that money. They genuinely don't understand why you wouldn't just spend it. You have it, so why not just buy something you want? My why is for freedom, safety, and future. I feel free knowing that the money is there for when I do want to spend it on something out of the ordinary, or if I do need it for something unexpected, like how I mentioned with my car breaking down or something like that. At least I know it's there, but also I have the freedom knowing that, you know, I've got that money there so that if I decided to go to Sydney next weekend, I could fly there. I have that money available. I'm not going to do that, but it is a really good feeling knowing that you can do that. It's a really freeing feeling. And then of course there is, yeah, the bonus of having that money there for safety, like I mentioned, and for my goals for the future, whether that's to eventually buy a house or travel somewhere overseas. I have that there to fall back on. So going back to me mentioning prioritizing, you need to be clear on what you value the most and what you can sacrifice. Your $5 everyday coffee, your gym membership, buying clothes, going clubbing and drinking alcohol. Get really real with yourself, your spending habits, and what things are worth to you. It's not a treat if you have it all the time. Don't lie to yourself and say, my everyday coffee that cost me $5 is a treat. No, that is not a treat. That is a everyday necessity for you now. That is not a luxury. And just to put things in perspective for you, if you have, yeah, say your average coffee is about $5, because some days you might get an ice, some day you might get just a regular cappuccino, but some days it might be small, some days it might be large. Like, I'm just going to base it on $5 because that's how much it kind of costs around Australia, times 365 days of the year, right? So that's getting one every day. Some people get 2 a day. That's so much money. $1,825 a year you are spending on coffee. And if you can cut back on these treats, you will actually enjoy it so much more when you do have it as a treat. And having it every so often will really make you appreciate that thing. For an example, someone I used to know would spend a lot of money on Coke, like the drink, not the drug, and cigarettes. To me, I just couldn't fathom that they would spend that money on having like a liter of Coke every day and a packet of cigarettes. I don't know how much they'd smoke a week, but they couldn't have money for groceries. And they would complain about not having money for food. And the answer was sitting right in front of them. Like, if you can't have something because of something else, something needs to change in your life. Something else that you really need to do is budgeting. This ties in with your spending habits, your bills, and your incoming funds. I didn't do this for years and it probably cost me thousands of dollars. And living out of home now made makes me realize how much I could have saved more while I was living at home when I didn't have so many things to pay for. I don't know if I'll go into budgeting too much because there's so many videos on how to do it, and the way I do it is a little bit like, I don't know if it's the right way to do it, but basically I just have like my money that comes in, and then I take out all my bills and rent and everything I need to pay for, as well as I have a set amount, kind of minimum, that I have to put away in savings. So you need to set yourself how much you want to put away in savings, whether it's $50 a week, $100 a week, more or less, like whatever you can put away, put that away. I'm sorry if the light keeps changing and the camera angles keep moving. I keep having to go and charge my battery because it just keeps dying, and I don't have a spare one, and I just try to charge it, film, charge it, film. So I'm really sorry, and I'm sorry if the light's changing. The sun is coming in. I'm trying to block it out. So much is happening. Where was I up to? My next tip is to don't buy something that you can't pay outrightly for. So try to avoid things like car loans, phone plans, afterpay. Unless you have the money for it right now, don't get it. And I know sometimes this is unavoidable because you might really need something and you don't have the money right now, and you have to somehow take out a small loan or something along those lines. And obviously I understand that in terms of a house, buying your first house and mortgage, you can't just buy that outrightly. But yeah, try to own things outrightly. Like for example, I own my car outrightly. I don't have a loan. I can proudly say I've never used Afterpay because I just kind of go, if I don't have the money for it now, like I just shouldn't buy it. Like I just don't have a good feeling about it. I know I'm responsible enough where I would pay things back, but I would just hate seeing that money come out each week. Like, wouldn't you just rather, you know, if you want something, save up for it, buy it, get it done, you know, and you feel really good about it and you've had time to think about it. Maybe even try saving half the amount first and then get the rest out on a loan, something like that. And I know that it's tempting, it can feel like free money, which I think is what happens with a lot of people when they suddenly fall behind on their payments and they can't pay for things because it was money that you never had, and if you don't finance properly, you might not be able to pay that off for many, many years to come. I know a friend of mine years ago, she had a car loan and she actually crashed her car and it was a write-off, so they had to take the car from her. She didn't have the money to get a new car, and she can't or didn't want to pay a new loan, and she didn't have insurance on her car. So she is, I don't know if she's paid it off yet, but she was paying off a car loan for a car that she didn't even have. That car didn't even exist anymore. Like, that just like terrifies me. And even Connor, he's got a car loan and it's taking him a really long time to pay it off. And he has the money there that he could pay it off, but he doesn't want to use all of his savings, obviously. And I don't think you can. I think you're locked in. You have to use however many years and all the interest and stuff. Like, it's just not worth it. Even phone plans as well. Connor has a phone plan and now it's running up and he has to buy the phone now. Like, why was he paying like, you know, almost $100 a month to then now he has to buy the phone? Like, I use prepaid credit, so I only pay about $30 a month, and I bought my phone outright. And I don't know, I just think that's so much smarter. Like, oh, it's so easy to go over with phone plans and stuff. But yeah, if you try to save at least half, but don't spend all your money so that you have nothing to fall back on. And I know that's when a loan can be handy because you might not be able to reach it there, but you've got some that you can pay and you just need the rest of it. But yeah, I try to avoid Afterpay because it's almost like a credit card. And yeah, having money, like spending money that you don't already have can be a real problem, and that's why people have many addictions and all these credit card problems. But I am thinking about getting a credit card soon, purely so I can have some credit. Like, I currently have no credit, which is sometimes worse than having bad credit. Well, not worse, but it can be the same as having bad credit. So having good credit and knowing that I will be responsible for the credit card and I get perks and things, it's something that I've been considering. But don't get a credit card unless you are already responsible with money. I know that I'm already responsible with money, so I wouldn't be going on credit cards, binges and things like that. Another tip I have for you is to sell your crap and the things that you don't need anymore. I do a market stall a couple of times a year trying to sell all my clothes and knickknacks and things that I've accumulated that I don't want anymore, that serve me no longer, and they go really well. My profits are really good. I've made like over $500 before, so really recommend selling your stuff, especially before just donating it all. At least try to make some money back. It is nice to donate your things sometimes, but if they are in good condition and you think you might get a little bit of coin from it, definitely try to sell it before donating it. You just never know who might buy it. My last tip is to use coupon codes and just shop smarter. Do your research, find out if there are any coupon codes for the things that you want to buy. Even if it's saving a small amount, a little bit is better than not saving any money at all. And know when things aren't worth the price. Some of these online boutiques that I see, they have really cute dresses and things, but they're charging like $100 per dress, and it's like almost 100% polyester. That's not worth $100. Like, please be smarter about what you are buying. Like, do your research, do your homework before you buy something. Make sure it is going to be worth your hard-earned money. Sit on a purchase for a while and don't just impulse buy. Something that can really help you save money is using different apps or internet browser kind of things. I don't know what they're called. For example, I've used Honey before and I found that to be effective. It doesn't work on all sites, but there are a lot that you can get some sneaky little discount codes for. I also use Shopback. I love using Shopback. So far I have almost about $40 accumulated on Shopback, and by I think it's like the middle of Feb, I should be able to transfer that all over, and that's purely from buying things, especially over Christmas. I found it was really helpful, and I just got back, you know, like $2 here, $5 there. You know, one of them I think I got $10 back or something. So love that. That's a really handy tip that I can give you, is to use Shopback. And this is not at all sponsored. I actually found Shopback through a sponsored ad and I thought I'd give it a go, and it works a treat. Something else that I do as well is I look for YouTuber discount codes. If there's a site that I want to buy something off, I do a little bit of a YouTube search and see if anyone's doing hauls, like they've done recent ones and they have a code for me to use. Princess Polly almost always has a code that you can use. They always do 20% off codes for YouTubers, and I love that. And I mean, it works. That's a really smart business tactic, because I almost always end up getting whatever I was looking at on Princess Polly, because I'm like 20% off. Like, what a treat. And usually the item ends up being over the free shipping threshold, so love that. And that makes it sound like I buy from Princess Polly all the time. I don't, but when I do want to get myself a nice little cute dress or something, it does really help to have a code. Now on to my tips and advice. I feel like this whole thing is kind of being tips and advice, but these are some other little things that maybe you haven't already thought of, or somebody else hasn't already covered, because some of these things you might be like, yeah, I know, duh, like that's, you know, saving 101 or something. But I try to think of some other things as well that I think can be really handy that not many people really think of. And one of those things is try to avoid sale items. Sales can be really handy when it comes to, you know, around Christmas time, like Black Friday. I love doing my Christmas shopping around Black Friday because I can get my family and friends presents at 30% off most of the time. And then they have another sale on Monday. So if there's anything that I decided that I missed out on and I still wanted to get, there's another sale on a few days after. But try to avoid buying sale items purely because they're on sale. You already weren't going to get that item, so why are you buying it now just because it's at a reduced cost? You already weren't going to spend that $50, so why are you spending it now? You know what I mean? The only reason you want to buy that item is because of your money mentality. You've been conditioned to believe that if something is a bargain or on sale, that it's a good deal. You have to get it, like it's on sale. So how could you possibly pass up that opportunity? But it's a really dangerous way to live. You're gonna end up spending money on things and just go, why did I even get that? I feel like this is no secret, but some people that I've told, it does shock them as well. And that is that there is a thing called visual merchandising, and that is based on a store layout and how they can get you to buy more stuff. They place things in certain sections of the store so that you buy more stuff. Dressing rooms are at the back of the shop so that you have to walk through the whole store just to try on your one item, and you may have picked up 5 on the way. Same within grocery stores. There are certain companies that pay to be in the eye level of an aisle on the shelf so that you are more likely to grab their products. You're not going to look up for the cheaper one or look down for the cheaper one. You're going to go right at eye level, and usually they're the big company brands. Companies want you to spend money. They want you to consume. They do not care about you. They want to make money as a business. So just shop smarter. You need to be stronger. Hone your mentality and resist the temptations and the urges. My next tip is to work hard. And now I'm not saying you already don't work hard, but if you work really hard, you will not want to spend your precious hard-earned money on just anything. Another tip I saw is that you should get your bank statement and highlight the things that didn't bring you joy or that you regret. It's a really good way to see how much you're spending overall each year on things that didn't make you happy. So definitely try that exercise. Another thing that can really help, I keep clapping. Another thing that can help is if you think of money in the terms of your time. This has always stuck with me because I remember one time I was out with my sister and we were getting an acai bowl, and she used to work at a fast food restaurant and was earning about $10 per hour, and the acai bowl we wanted was about $10. And I just remember her saying, wow, that just cost me an hour of my life. And that's exactly right, and that's a really good way to look at things, going, okay, this cost me a certain amount of my life and my time. Was it worth it? Did that acai bowl really mean that much to me when I'm never going to get that hour of my life back? You're trading parts of your life and your time, and it's so important. Your time is so precious, but that is up to you whether you think it is worth it or not. And that's why I said you need to be clear on your values and your priorities, because to some people having an acai bowl once a week may be your treat, maybe the thing that makes you happy. Another tip I have for you is if you find it hard to say no to plans, a really good excuse or thing that you can say is like, sorry, I'm staying in tonight, I'm getting my rent's worth. And this is, I guess, aimed at people who do live out of home, but if you pay rent at home as well, this can work, because people are more likely to understand and they're less likely to pressure you, because people understand that, you know, rent money is kind of dead money. You just have to pay it to someone else. Whereas if you kind of go, oh, sorry, I'm saving, to other people that's saying, oh, I have the money available, but I just don't want to use it on this thing. And your friends, they want you to come out and have a good time with them and spend that money. So they're gonna say things like, oh, come on, like, just treat yourself. Like, it's just one night. That is all the toxic things you don't need to hear. And if they are your true friends, they will understand that you don't want to spend money and go out. So if you do want to try and hang out with your friends and you normally go out to dinner or go out to drink, something like that, try going for coffee instead, which is way cheaper than going out for dinner. Or invite them over and have dinner at your house, or even just a cup of tea. Like, be like, yeah, come over and have a cuppa and we'll just chat. That is going to save you a ton of money rather than going out every week to see your friends. And I know in my case, I have friends from all different, you know, groups and walks of life. So, you know, there's some weeks where I'm seeing like 3 friends in one week, as well as like family things or whatever, and it's just so much money to be going out to eat every time you need to see a new friend. Lastly, I want to leave you with some things to remember, and the first thing is that it is okay to say no to things. Do not feel guilty, and don't let someone make you feel guilty. Like I said before, if they're a true friend, they will understand and they'll support you in the saving thing, and they should be motivating you and encouraging you, and you can almost have a buddy system where you're both saving together. My next thing that I need you to remember is that setbacks are normal. You will make mistakes, and try not to be so hard on yourself when you do make mistakes regarding money. You might make some not so great money choices, and life can be unpredictable, and unfortunately that is just one of the things of life. Try to learn from these things instead. I had an incident where I owed tax money because I had 2 jobs at the time. I didn't really understand how tax worked properly when you have 2 jobs, and I ended up having to pay the tax on my second job because I hadn't paid it all year. So that was like almost $2,000 for the whole year that I had to pay. So that was really fun. I love that. I also have bought a lot of things. So I've bought a new car, I've you know, traveled to a lot of new places and little adventures. So I'm definitely not at that amount that I have in the title, the 23,000. I spent quite a bit of that, but I'm slowly working back up there. The next thing is, don't make yourself completely miserable and do allow yourself to spend some time. Just be sensible, think about things first and make an informed decision. Use your judgment first. Even saving $1 a year can equal to a fair amount of money, $365 for the year. That's great. Like, having anything is better than having nothing at all. When we were going on a family holiday to Bali quite a few years ago, my dad actually had a jar for all his coins. So at the end of each week or each day, I'm not sure, he'd just chuck all his coins in there and us kids could contribute to it if we wanted to. And I think at the end of it we had like $700 and something, and that was just in literally silver coins and gold coins. Like, amazing. I think there was maybe like one $5 note, but yeah, cents are important. Everything adds up. Once you start, I promise you it will become addicting. Watching your savings grow, you'll become so proud of yourself and you'll be like, holy shit, how did I achieve that? It's not hard. You just need to have discipline and believe in yourself. That is all my tips and advice and things that I have to tell you related to money. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I really hope it helped at least someone, because yeah, like I said, it's not hard. You can do it. If you have any other tips that you think that I should have mentioned, leave them below so other people can read. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.